At my husband's funeral, I discovered an incredible secret. He's still alive, trust no one. The air was thick with grief as Amy stood at the edge of the freshly dug grave, her heart pounding like it might burst free from her chest. The sun hung low, casting long shadows across the small community of Maplewood, where whispers echoed like ghosts through the crowd gathered to say goodbye to David. The man she had loved, the devoted father of their 2 children, was gone, yet the feelings of betrayal were sharp and painful. The town was abuzz with rumors of debts and deceit, tearing apart the warm memories they had built together. How could everyone turn on him so quickly? Tears streamed down her face as Amy gripped the podium. With every ounce of strength, she fought to remember their sweet moments, the laughter shared over late-night snacks, the quiet evenings spent watching the stars, and the unyielding support he offered whenever she felt overwhelmed. David was her voice cracked, tears spilling down her cheeks. He was not just my husband, but my best friend. Each word hung in the air, a fragile lifeline to the past, as shadows flitted along the edges of her memory, taunting her with doubt. Before she could finish, a cloaked figure stepped forward, cutting through her sorrow like a knife. "You're wrong." David staged his death to escape. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Amy's heart raced. The truth? Or another cruel twist? This stranger continued, eyes burning with intensity. He knew about the corruption. "They have their claws in our community, and he was trying to protect you, all of you." The ground beneath her seemed to tremble. Could the man she loved have orchestrated this chaos? The whispers of betrayal were replaced by a gnawing sense of urgency. Her heart knew David was a good man, yet suspicion dripped from every corner of Maplewood. Who could she trust? She had to find out the truth. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Each day after the funeral felt like a labyrinth of deception, as she clung to the memories of her husband while peeling back layers of secrecy wrapped around the town like a shroud. Neighbors who once smiled warmly now cast sidelong glances, their whispers echoing in her mind. Were they hiding something? Who were they protecting? As she began to sift through the truths, she felt a fire igniting within her, a need to uncover David's legacy and the safety of their children. The stakes grew higher with every revelation. Allies turned to enemies, and the very idea of safety within her community shattered like glass. Amy found herself standing before her neighbors, trembling with a courage she hadn't known she possessed. "I will not let fear dictate our lives any longer. We deserve the truth." David's ghost loomed large in her thoughts. Was his decision to disappear truly the act of a loving husband, a protector, or merely a coward's escape? Would she hold on to the love they shared and fight for justice in a world that had quickly unraveled, or would she risk everything to expose the dark underbelly of Maplewood? Caught in the tangled web of emotion and uncertainty, Amy stood at the precipice, ready to uncover secrets that could change everything. The sun rose the next morning, casting a soft light over Maplewood, yet Amy felt a darkness looming within her chest. It was as if the very air she breathed was infused with helplessness. With the funeral behind her, she knew she could not turn away. The day stretched ahead with a mix of dread and anticipation. She gathered her courage and picked up the phone. "I need to speak with Grace," she said to herself, nodding at her reflection in the bathroom mirror. Grace had been David's closest friend. If anyone would know about the intricacies of his life and the reasons behind his disappearance, it would be her. After a few rings, Grace's voice came through, shaky yet warm. "Amy, I can't believe what happened. I am so sorry. I need to know the truth," Amy blurted. Did David really stage his death? Why would he do that? There was a long silence, and Amy could almost hear the thoughts racing through Grace's mind. "I can't talk over the phone, people are listening. Meet me at the old diner at noon." As Amy hung up, her pulse quickened. The old diner was where they used to go for milkshakes and burgers, a nostalgic place filled with laughter. Now, it felt like a scene from a nightmare waiting to unfold. Noon arrived, and as Amy stepped into the diner, the familiar jingle of the bell above the door seemed mournful. She spotted Grace sitting in a booth in the back, eyes darting nervously. "Tell me everything," Amy urged as she slid onto the cracked leather seat opposite her. "David isn't dead," Grace whispered, glancing around before leaning closer. "He found something big, Amy. Corruption runs deep in this town. He was gathering evidence, trying to protect you and the kids." "What kind of evidence?" Amy could feel her heart racing. A mix of hope and fear churned within her. "What does this mean?" "It means he didn't just vanish," Grace replied anxiously. "He had enemies, powerful ones. He wasn't trying to escape, he was trying to lure them away from you. He thought disappearing would keep you safe." Stunned, Amy sank back into the seat, the reality washing over her like ice water. "He's alive, but why didn't he come back? Why leave me like this?" Grace took a deep breath, her face strained. "He believed he was protecting you, but he underestimated how dark things got. He wanted to give you a chance to live without fear." This revelation sent Amy into a spiral of conflicting emotions. How could he possibly think that abandoning her, that faking his own death, would keep her safe? "What do we do now?" Grace looked around, leaning closer once more. "We need to find a way to get to him. This could be more dangerous than we realize. There are people who will stop at nothing to maintain their power." Every instinct within Amy screamed at her to retreat into safety, but the fire ignited the previous day roared to life again. She wouldn't allow fear to dictate her life or her children's. "I need to see him. I need to know for myself that he's alive." Grace sighed. "It won't be easy. But if David managed to keep himself hidden, there must be a way to contact him. We just have to be careful." As they talked, a sense of determination built within Amy, tethered to the love she felt for David. If he was out there, so close yet so far, she would do whatever it took to bring him back, not just for herself but for their children. The diner door swung open behind them, and Amy felt an unshakable chill, a premonition. As she turned, the world narrowed, and a familiar face emerged from the shadows, eyes locked onto hers. It was someone she never expected to see again, the mayor of Maplewood, a man whose secrets ran deeper than anyone knew. What kind of danger was he bringing with him now? The mayor stepped inside, his polished shoes making a deliberate echo on the diner's worn floor. He stopped short as his gaze fell on Amy, a thin smile creeping across his face. It didn't reach his eyes, which glinted with something cold and calculating. "Amy," he said, his voice smooth like silk but layered with menace. "It's been a while. I hope to catch you here. How are you holding up?" Amy felt her heart race, a mix of anger and fear swirling in her stomach. "What do you want, Frank?" She shot back, trying to mask her apprehension. It was clear he was not here to offer solace. "Just checking in," he replied, leaning casually against the booth, getting too close for comfort. "You know, the town's been buzzing with talk since David's passing. I just wanted to extend my condolences, personally. Such a tragedy." "Tragedy?" Amy echoed, her voice rising. "You think this is a tragedy? My husband is alive and in hiding because of people like you." Frank straightened, an eyebrow raised. "Alive?" he repeated, mock surprise dancing in his tone. Now, that's quite the bold statement. One would think someone in your position would not jump to such conclusions. Grace shifted in her seat, her eyes darting between Amy and the mayor, sensing the tension thickening around them. "We know more than you think, Frank. You can't keep the truth buried forever," she said, her voice steady but low. The mayor chuckled lightly, a sound devoid of warmth. "Truth is a slippery thing, Grace. You should know by now that it's best to keep your nose clean. Digging around can lead to unfortunate accidents." Amy felt the weight of his threat, icy fingers clutching her heart. She glanced at Grace, whose expression mirrored her fear. "What do you know about David? Where is he?" she demanded, the steel creeping into her voice. Frank waved his hand dismissively. Why would a man like David run? He had everything to lose, his family, his reputation, everything he worked for. Surely you know that. Stop playing games. This isn't just about him anymore, it's about our family. Amy shot back, tears of frustration stinging her eyes. Oh, but it is, Amy, he said softly, his expression shifting to something almost conspiratorial. It's precisely about family. Your safety is paramount, after all. What would happen if his enemies learned you were poking around? They're not merciful like you. The realization hit Amy like a slap. This was no mere interrogation. He was trying to intimidate her, to keep her from seeking the truth. You're hiding something, she accused, voice trembling but strong. You've always been involved in the dark dealings of this town. I know you have connections. Don't lie to me. He stepped back, the amusement fading as a hint of annoyance crept in. Be careful, Amy. You're treading on dangerous ground. You don't know the half of it. It might be worth your while to consider letting this go. Letting go isn't an option, she stated firmly, her resolve steeling against his looming threats. I'm going to find David, and I won't let anyone stop me. He leaned close enough that she could smell the faint whiff of his cologne, sharp and overpowering. Then prepare for the consequences of your actions. You play with fire, and you'll get burned. You better hope David is worth it. With those final words, Frank straightened and walked out the door, leaving the bell's jingle echoing in the void he left behind. Amy sat back down, the gravity of the situation pressing down on her. What do we do? Grace asked, concern etched on her face. We do whatever it takes, Amy replied, determination flooding her veins. Now we need a plan. I can't let fear dictate my family's fate. But as they plotted their next steps, a chilling thought crept into Amy's mind. Had she just painted a target on her back? The door swung open again, and at that moment, another figure appeared, but this one was unannounced, and fear struck like lightning. Was it help, or had she unknowingly invited more danger into her life? Who was this new arrival, and what would they bring to her quest for the truth? The bell above the diner door jangled again, breaking the heavy air that lingered in the wake of Frank's departure. Amy's heart thudded in her chest, anticipation mingling with fear. She had barely recovered from the conversation with the mayor when the figure stepped into view. It was an unfamiliar face. The man looked around the diner, his eyes scanning the patrons, widening slightly when they finally landed on Amy. He wore a worn leather jacket, and his shaggy hair fell over his forehead, giving him a rugged look. There was something haunted about him, something raw and desperate that tugged at Amy's instincts. Grace stiffened beside her, clenching her fists on the table. Who's that? She whispered, her voice barely audible over the clinking dishes and murmurs of conversation. I don't know, but he looks like he is searching for something, Amy replied, her grip tightening on the edge of the table. As the man approached, Amy could see a shadow pooling beneath his eyes, as if he carried the weight of 1,000 burdens. He slowed to a halt a few feet away and cleared his throat, glancing once more at the other patrons before focusing on Amy. Are you Amy Miller? He asked, his voice a low rasp. She nodded, understanding that he had already heard of her plight. Who are you? My name is Tyler, he said, glancing back at the door as if someone might follow him in. I know where your husband is. I've been looking for you. Stunned, Amy felt her breath hitch. Hope ignited in her chest, but caution stopped her from speaking. Why should I trust you? Because his eyes darted around again, filled with urgency. Because time is running out. Frank isn't the only one searching for David. There are others, and they're not as subtle. Grace's expression shifted, her fear palpable. Are you in danger, too? I'm already in it, Tyler said, the gravity of his words sinking deep. I was part of the thing that happened to him, what made him go into hiding. But I can help. Amy bit her lip, wrestling with conflicting emotions. Trust was a fragile thing, easily shattered in her world of doubts and fears. The brief encounter with Frank had made her feel exposed, vulnerable. How do I know you're telling the truth? She pressed, voice steadying as she challenged him. Because David isn't just hiding from Frank, Tyler said, leaning in closer, lowering his voice. He's hiding from something bigger, a reality he won't face. He needs to protect you, and himself. The weight of his claim battered against her resolve. What do you know about my husband? He was involved in something he didn't want you to see. Something that could destroy everything you two built. There was a sincerity in Tyler's eyes, mixed with the fear of potential repercussions. I know where he is, but if I tell you, we'll need to move fast. Glimpses of David flashed vividly in her mind, the laughter, the hugs, the long talks late into the night. If you know where he is, Amy pressed, then let us go find him. Not yet. Tyler held up a hand, urgency radiating off of him. We have to be careful. If Frank's watching you, he'll watch where you go. We need a plan, a safe way to approach David. As the weight of the situation sank deeper, Amy's resolve hardened. There was no turning back now, despite the heavy threat looming above her. She had to find David. A desperate need clashed with the awareness of danger. Just then, a stirring behind them caught Amy's attention. The diner door opened again, and this time, the familiar face of an old friend came forward, confusion etched on their brow. It was Jamie, someone who never stepped inside this diner unless there was trouble. With dread creeping into her heart, Amy dared to hope. Had Jamie come with news? Or had the news tightened even more around them all? Get ready, Tyler whispered, a sharp edge to his voice. We don't have much time. Whatever happens next, it's going to change everything. And with that, Amy braced for the storm that was about to hit. Would this be a turning point, or would it lead them all deeper into danger? Jamie's eyes flickered from Amy to Tyler, taking in the tension in the air. What is going on? Jamie asked, a crease of worry appearing on their forehead. A lot, Amy replied, trying to keep her voice steady, but the quiver betrayed her. Tyler here says he knows where David is. David? Wait, how do you know him? Jamie's gaze narrowed. And why does he look like he just walked out of a nightmare? Tyler shifted uncomfortably, his apology rushing to the surface. Look, I know this looks bad. But I didn't come here to hurt anyone. I only came to find Amy. Jamie crossed their arms, skepticism etched in every line of their face. And what do you want from her? More trouble? Jamie, Amy interjected, the urgency of their situation sharpening her tone. I need you to trust me. I can't explain everything now, just know this guy could help us save David. The diner felt like it was closing in. The familiar sounds faded, the clattering plates and murmurs of chatter muffled as if they were a world away. Jamie hesitated, searching Amy's face for answers, but all they found was fear and determination. Okay, Jamie said reluctantly. But if this goes sideways, I'm holding you accountable, Tyler. Fair enough, he replied, relief washing over him. But we need to get out of here. Why? What's happening? Jamie asked, a creeping sense of urgency shadowing their words. Frank, Tyler spoke, his voice low. He's got people everywhere. If he knows we're on David's trail, things will turn dangerous fast. We have to leave now, disappear while we still can. Amy swallowed hard, 1,000 conflicting thoughts volleying through her mind. She glanced towards the diner window. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the parking lot. Darker moments ahead. Where do we go? She asked, the question like a plea. I have a place, Tyler answered quickly. It's off the radar. We can talk there, figure out our next steps. Jamie took a deep breath, processing the shift in reality. All right, let us move. We'll talk in the car. But this better not be some kind of trap. They slid out of the booth, each of them aware of their surrounding eyes. Normalcy felt far away, people were oblivious to the storm brewing in their small gathering. As they exited the diner, Amy cast a sideways glance at Tyler. What exactly did you mean by David being involved in something? Tyler hesitated, his weight shifting uncomfortably. I can't tell you everything now. You need to understand, he didn't just run from Frank. There were choices he made that led to this. Important choices. With each word, new layers of doubt unfurled in Amy's mind. Her heart raced, aching to believe Tyler but fearful of the truth. David was everything to her. Could he really have hidden something so destructive? They hurried to Jamie's car, the night air heavy with pending chaos. The headlights sliced through the gloom, illuminating the road ahead. Just drive, Tyler instructed, the intensity in his voice leaving no room for doubt. As they sped away from the diner, Amy couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. Shadows trailed them as they ventured deeper into the unknown. The thought of David's presence kept her fueled, but questions swirled in her mind, wild and restless. Where exactly is David? She finally pressed, her voice barely above a whisper. He's closer than you think, Tyler replied, a shimmer of fear crossing his face. But if we don't act fast, we could lose him for good. You need to trust me, Amy. I'm all you have left in this fight. But as uncertainty crept in, a chill dashed through her veins. What if the real fight was just beginning? The night loomed ahead, holding secrets Amy wasn't sure she was ready to confront. As shadows crossed their path, the question hung heavily in the air: could she trust Tyler, or was she stepping deeper into a web of deceit? The car hummed as they sped down the highway, the darkness outside swallowing them whole. Amy sat in the back seat, her thoughts a tangled mess of worry and hope. She stole glances at Tyler, whose face was now a mask of focus as he stared out into the night. Tyler, she said, breaking the heavy silence. What choices did David make? What did you mean? Each word felt like a ball of tension that threatened to unravel the thread holding her together. Tyler sighed, a deep, pained breath that seemed to echo in the cramped space. It's complicated. David got involved with some dangerous people. I didn't know the details myself until it was too late. His eyes flickered to Jamie for a moment, searching. This isn't the time for half-truths, Jamie spoke up, their voice sharp, cutting through the tension. If he's in danger, we need to know what we're up against. Tyler nodded, about to speak, when a sudden jolt through the car made them all lurch forward. He shot a quick glance over his shoulder, tension creeping back into his posture. Just drive faster, he urged Jamie, his voice tight. We might have company. Amy's heart raced. What do you mean? The people after David, they know about me. If they spot us, we're done. His voice dripped with urgency, and something primal kicked in Amy's gut. She was fighting for David, she would do anything to save him. Jamie floored the gas pedal, the engine roaring in protest. Who are they? Jamie demanded, eyes fixed on the road. The kind of people who don't let go. Frank's men, they don't care about anything but power. They'll do anything to keep their secrets hidden, and David is part of that. If they find out we're here, what kind of secrets? Amy interrupted, desperate for answers, but deep inside, she feared the truth could be worse than the questions. Tyler hesitated, his face growing darker. He knows something big. It's about Frank. If it gets out, it could ruin everything. The car surged forward, past flickering streetlights. Amy felt a cold chill creep over her, the weight of something unspeakable pressing down. But why would David run if it was just secrets? It's not just secrets. Tyler's voice was barely a whisper now, heavy with implications. He believed he could protect you by walking away. He thought his past wouldn't catch up to him, but it did. Amy's breath hitched. How could he? How could he think leaving would keep her safe? He should have trusted me, she murmured, the thought agonizing. I could have helped him. But now it's worse because he's alone, Tyler replied. We have to find him before Frank does. That's how we save him. Jamie tightened their grip on the wheel, determination set in their features. Then let us not waste time. Tell us where to go. As the words hung in the air, Amy sensed movement in the rearview mirror. A pair of headlights surged into view, closer, too close. They were being followed. Faster. Tyler barked, fear edging into his voice. We can't let them catch us. Turn here. Jamie swerved off the main road, tires screeching as they veered onto a dirt path. Amy's pulse thundered in her ears. She had to believe they could escape this. They had to. But the headlights didn't dim. They drew closer, relentless like the storm in Amy's heart. As they tore through the backwoods, a thought gripped her. If David made choices that led to this, then what could she possibly do? Would they even get to him in time? As they raced past the trees, leaving the familiar world behind, she realized that every decision led them here. But would this path lead to salvation, or would it seal their fate? The crunch of gravel under tires echoed ominously, and despite the adrenaline rushing through her, a sense of dread began to bloom. What if this was all a mistake? Do you think he's still alive? Amy's voice was laced with urgency. Tyler's eyes met hers in the rearview mirror, and for a flicker of a moment, she saw fear intermingled with hope. I have to believe that. Then, just as they rounded a curve, the car lurched violently again, and Amy gasped as a flash of metal gleamed in the road. Ahead. They weren't just being followed, they were being hunted. The stakes were rising, and with each heartbeat, it was becoming clear that the fight for David didn't just involve saving him, it was about surviving the fallout of everything he had kept hidden. Could she handle the truth that awaited them? As they faced the unknown, Amy's heart pounded with a single thought: did running put her in more danger? And if she found David, would she even want to know what he had done? The tires skidded on the loose gravel, the car a chaotic beast fighting for control. Amy's stomach twisted as her pulse raced to match the frantic sound of their tires thrashing against the dirt road. The weight of impending danger wrapped around her like a thick fog, making it hard to breathe. Just keep your foot down. Tyler shouted, glancing nervously back at the flashing headlights that stalked them through the darkened woods. Each flicker of light sent a jolt of adrenaline coursing through her veins. Would this turn into a nightmare they couldn't wake up from? Are you sure this is the right way? Jamie's voice pitched higher, a stark contrast to the calm discomfort they felt before. What if we split up? It might confuse them. Tyler shook his head. No. We need to stay together. We're stronger that way. His front teeth clenched as he focused ahead. Amy admired his resolve in such chaos, but that strength was tempered by anxiety that felt infectious. Amy squeezed her eyes shut for a moment, trying to drown out the pounding in her chest. This isn't just about David, is it? She murmured, barely above a whisper. There's more, isn't there? Tyler met her gaze in the rearview mirror once more, turmoil written across his features. He's tangled in something dangerous. I didn't want to say it, but what? Jamie cut in, frustration weaving through the tone. Spit it out before we become the next victims in this game. He's involved with something bigger than we know, Tyler said, his voice a shade softer. There are lives at stake, innocent ones, too. People we don't even know. Amy's heart sank. What had David stumbled into? The looming shadows of fear and uncertainty cried out for answers, but they felt unbearably heavy. She thought of all the moments they shared, blissful evenings when she'd laugh at his silly jokes and dream about a future together. How could he have hidden this from her? A sudden sharp turn almost sent them off the path, and Jamie shouted, "Hold on." The car jerked as they regained control, but Amy's grip on the seat tightened. David thought he could handle it, Tyler continued, voice trembling slightly. He was trying to protect you. He believed he could keep you safe by keeping you in the dark. But that just made it worse. Amy snapped, emotion flooding her voice. He could talk to me. I could been a part of whatever he was dealing with. Maybe he was afraid, Tyler replied, and for a second, Amy thought he might understand. Afraid of putting you in danger, afraid of what would happen if you knew. Amy's hands went cold. And now we're all in it, deep in the thick of it. She cried, frustration mixing with a rising tide of despair. What if he's already? No. Tyler's fierce denial pierced the air. We can't think like that. Not now. The intensity in his voice reminded her of the love they all felt for David, that hope still flickering like a candle in the dark. But just as she started to hold on to that flicker, headlights lunged up close behind them, pouring in through the rear window like angry flames. "They're gaining!" Jamie shouted, panic rippling through the car. Tyler pulled hard on the wheel, veering onto a narrower path that twisted deeper into the woods. The branches whipped against the car, the darkness around them thickening, and Amy could feel her resolve waver like a candle in a storm. Would this lead to David or to something worse? "Do you know where we are going?" Amy demanded, her voice rising in urgency. "There's a place I know," Tyler yelled, just as Jamie navigated through the maze of trees. "It's not far, but it won't be easy. We'll need to be on the lookout." A creeping dread made Amy shiver. How will we know it's safe? How do we know we can trust anyone? The headlights surged closer, illuminating their rearview mirror in a blinding wash of white. "Trust no one," Tyler murmured, as they raced into the unknown, the reality hitting hard. They were caught in a web of danger bound by David's secrets. And in this fight to save him, she began to realize that the question was no longer just about trust. It was about survival. "Just keep going," Jamie implored. "Whatever happens, we can't stop now." And as the night pressed in around them, Amy gripped the edge of her seat, haunted by the realization that with every passing moment, they were running out of time. Could they reach David before it was too late? But more urgently, could she truly face the truth about his past, whatever it might be, when they found him? The shadows loomed larger, and the chase wasn't just for David's life anymore. It had morphed into a fight for their own lives as well. The trees closed in around them, a suffocating tunnel of darkness. Each branch that scratched against the car felt like a warning. Amy's heart raced with every bump in the road, the thud of her pulse echoing in her ears. She could almost hear the howling wind whispering of danger. They needed to keep going, but even speed couldn't outrun the clinging dread that wrapped around her. "Tyler," Amy said, her voice trembling. "Is this really the way?" "Yes. Trust me," he replied, determination fueling his tone, but his knuckles were white on the steering wheel, betraying his own fear. "I know a place where we can wait just a little longer." Another weave in the road sent them jostling again, and Jamie leaned forward, excitement mixed with fear. "What lies ahead? Do you actually know where we're going?" "Just trust me," he shot back, an edge creeping into his voice. Fear had turned to impatience, and Amy felt caught in the middle. Trust was running thin. Behind them, the headlights loomed larger, menacing eyes driving them deeper into the night. Shouts and laughter echoed in the distance, chilling her further. What nightmare lurked in those beams of light, waiting to snatch them away? She swallowed hard, her mouth dry, feeling trapped in a labyrinth of fear. "I can't think like this," Amy whispered. The thought of David being in danger made her stomach churn. The crackling of branches against metal seemed almost like an omen. "What if they find him first?" she said, panic rising in her chest. "What if they?" Tyler's voice cut through her frantic thoughts. "They won't. We won't allow that to happen." "But how can you be so sure?" The doubt in her heart weighed heavier than the trust they once had in each other. Auburn flickers of doubt danced in her mind. Had David, in his quest to protect her, underestimated the darkness that enveloped him? "Because we don't give up," Tyler shouted, his voice shaky. "David is strong. He'll find a way to survive, just like we have to." Amy could almost see it, the image of her sweet David standing strong, his reassuring smile shining through the chaos. She wanted to believe it so badly, but the shadows kept pushing against her hopes. Suddenly, Jamie pointed ahead, her voice a sharp intake of breath. "Look! Is that the turn?" Ahead, a break in the underbrush revealed a decrepit cabin emerging like a ghost from the fog. Tyler stomped on the brakes, drawing the car in a hasty stop. "This is it. We can hide in there." "Is it safe?" Amy asked hesitantly, staring at the dilapidated structure that seemed to sway under the weight of the night. "It has to be. We can wait for a little while, gather our thoughts," Tyler insisted, glancing around nervously. "What if they followed us here?" Jamie said, her eyes darting to the rearview mirror. The tightness in the air felt palpable, choking. "Then we need to be ready," Tyler replied. "If we keep moving, we're likely to get caught. Here, we can think." The cabin's door creaked as Tyler pushed it open, the sound echoing off the peeling walls. Darkness loomed, a heavy cloak of uncertainty. They stepped inside, the staleness of the air wrapping around them like an unwanted embrace. "We should barricade the door," Jamie suggested, looking for anything to block their exit, in case danger found them here. As they dropped their bags and began shoving a rickety old table against the door, Amy's heart thudded with growing anxiety. The shadows inside seemed to breathe, murmuring secrets. What if this was all a trap? She thought, panic rising again. What if trusting Tyler was part of the bigger deception? "Amy." Tyler snapped her back. "Stay focused." The door shuttered with a sudden thud, sending her heart racing. "Someone's coming," Amy shouted. But before she could say another word, she caught a glimmer of something behind Tyler. A flash of light, and a chilling laugh echoed, making her blood run cold. "Did you really think you could escape?" Fear wrapped around her again, as dread morphed into something worse. They weren't just fighting for David. They were entangled in a web far beyond their control. In that moment of realization, everything shifted. Amy knew this wasn't just about survival anymore, it was about unearthing the truth. What had David really involved himself in? Would it lead them to safety or deeper into danger? And as the shadows deepened around them, one question buried itself in her mind: could they truly trust anyone, including each other? The air inside the cabin was thick with tension. The world had narrowed into the sound of their breaths and the insistent thumping that echoed through the walls. Amy's pulse quickened further as the laughing voice outside grew louder. "Tyler, what do we do?" she whispered, fear clawing at her throat. "Shoo," he hissed, pressing his finger to his lips. He strained to listen to the noises outside. Jamie crouched beside them, wide-eyed, pressing her back against the wall. "What if they find us? What if they know we're in here?" "We stay quiet and stay together," Tyler insisted. The fear in his eyes mirrored her own, but he was trying to project strength, something Amy desperately wanted to believe in. "We can't let them know we're in here. Whatever's out there, it's coming for us." Another loud thud rattled the door, and Amy felt her stomach drop. "This isn't going to hold them," she murmured, glancing at the old wooden table that seemed to have decayed long before their arrival. "I know," Tyler said, his voice trembling. "But it buys us time. We have to think smart." "What could possibly be smart about this?" Jamie snapped, panic spilling over. "We're trapped. Focus." Tyler's voice rose, surprising them both. "If we can't wait here, we'll have to find another way out. We need to be ready." He looked around, looking for something, anything, that could be useful. As they huddled in the dim light of the cabin, Amy's eyes caught on a flickering beam of light through a gap in the wooden planks. It was fleeting and almost ethereal, but somehow undeniably creeping closer. "They're here," she breathed, gripping Jamie's arm tightly. "We can't let them see us." Tyler launched himself to the shuttered window, peering through the grime-streaked glass. His breath hitched. "There are at least 3 of them. I can't see their faces, but what do they want?" Jamie interjected, voice shaking. "David," Amy whispered, recognizing the truth in Tyler's strained expression. "They want David. They think he's still with us," Tyler said, realization dawning in his eyes. "They're looking for him. That's why we have to stay quiet." Another laugh floated in through the opening, and with it came the heavy footsteps crunching across fallen leaves outside. It felt like a nightmare where their worst fears were stalking them, and it was only getting worse. "Should we try to sneak out the back?" Jamie suggested, her voice cutting through the thick fog of dread. Before Tyler could respond, the door shuttered again, this time nearly breaking free from its hinges. "We can't. They'll hear us," he said sharply. With that, a loud crash sounded as the door burst open, splintering wood and threatening to break their fragile world apart. Amy gasped, drawing her knees to her chest. There they stood, silhouetted against the faint moonlight, figures cloaked in darkness, chuckling with twisted glee. "Did you really think you could hide forever?" one of them called out. Stepping into the cabin, Amy felt her heart rate accelerate to an unbearable tempo. She exchanged worried glances with Tyler and Jamie, who were frozen in fear. "Now, where's our dear old David?" the voice sneered, stepping further inside. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the back of the cabin. Amy's eyes flew toward the sound, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. The noise felt almost like an answer, a promise that there was a way out, something to grasp in the suffocating dark, but before she could voice her thought, she felt something change in the air around them. As the figure turned, their eyes widened, revealing an unsettling recognition. "Amy," the voice whispered as their gaze locked onto hers. A chill crept up her spine as a strange familiarity washed over her. "It's you." In a split second, everything shifted. The laughter faded, replaced by a hushed silence as realization washed over them. Who had they just uncovered behind those eyes? And what if, even after everything, she did know this person? An icy dread settled in her bones. Would the truth set them free or lead them into further darkness? As the familiar figure stepped fully into the light, dread knotted in Amy's stomach. "Sam," she gasped. Memories flooded back. Sam was David's brother, the very man she hadn't expected to see in this horrific scenario. Confusion washed over her as the recognition set in. Sam, whose laughter used to fill their family gatherings, now stood before her in a tattered jacket, eyes dark and intense, framed with a tension that screamed of secrets. "I didn't know," Sam started, but his voice faltered, betraying the urgency of the moment. The tall shadows around him moved closer, their intentions ambiguous. "I thought it was too late." "Why are you here?" Amy demanded, panic edging into her words. "What do you want?" "Help," he replied, desperation threading through his voice. "I came to find you, to help you find David. He's in real trouble, and we don't have much time." The shadows behind him shifted, their laughter fading into an uncomfortable silence, each ear then straining to catch every word. Tyler's protective stance shifted into uncertainty. "You expect us to believe that? Why should we trust you?" "Because I'm in danger too," Sam explained quickly. "I was trying to gather evidence against Frank and his people. They found out, and I had to run. I didn't know you were in this mess. I thought David was safe, but he isn't." An uncertain tension spiraled around them. Sam took a step closer, his gaze locking with Amy's, igniting the flickers of familiarity amidst chaos. "I swear to you, I'm here to help. But we have to escape first. They're looking for us all." "Then let us go," Jamie urged, their voice trembling slightly, decision slipping between layers of fear and urgency. From the shadows behind Sam, a voice rose threateningly, "You're not going anywhere, Sam." The darker figures tightened their grip around him, an ominous reminder that the night was brimming with dangers and betrayal. Amy's heart raced, each beat echoing in the stillness. "No. Let him go." Powerless, she could only plead while her mind frantically sought a way out. "I need you to trust me," Sam called out, the urgency surging in his tone. "I know where David is. He's south, hiding close by, and if we don't move now." Amy felt the quickening pace of anxiety merge with a glimmer of hope. "Where?" she asked, determination roaring in her voice. The shadows shifted. "You'll need to follow me," Sam replied, inching closer, his eyes pleading hers for understanding. "We can regroup at the old farm. It's safe for now." "Safe?" Tyler asked, skepticism clinging to every word. "What if they catch us? You know Frank has eyes everywhere." Sam countered, his voice steadying. "But if we leave now, we can throw them off. Isn't it worth the risk?" With time slipping like water through her fingers, Amy turned to her friends. "We have no choice. If David is alive, we have to save him, even if it seems too dangerous." Jamie nodded, heat rising in their determination. "Let us do it." "Follow me," Sam whispered, urgency bleeding behind every word. The group inched toward the rear of the cabin, anxiety mingling with urgency as they let Sam lead. The path outside was fraught with shadows that danced around them, spirits of a past they desperately sought to escape. As they slipped through the back door, their hearts beat wildly. Each footstep felt like a leap toward freedom or maybe another trap. Through the darkness, they navigated. Sam kept his voice low, guiding them through the underbrush. Every rustle made their hearts race, every fleeting sound a reminder of the perils lurking just beyond their vision. They paused by a gnarled tree, breaths synchronized. David should be near, Sam breathed, scanning the surrounding shadows. We're almost there. In that fleeting moment, hope surged through Amy anew. Stay close, she urged, eyes darting around as the night stretched long with anticipation. Then, he emerged, a tall silhouette stepping into the glow of moonlight. It was David, unbroken, but the weight of the world seemed to sit on his shoulders. His eyes widened as they locked onto Amy, sharing a moment of ecstatic disbelief tinged with dread. David. She breathed, rushing toward him, every fear and worry collapsing in that instant. Amy. He shouted, stepping closer, only to look back with caution. You should have stayed away. Panic jolted her heart. They're coming, aren't they? Yeah, he admitted, scanning the surroundings. But I have proof against Frank. I thought I could get rid of him and keep you safe. I never wanted to hurt you. The darkness loomed heavier now, shadows slinking closer. We need to move, now. Sam urged, the urgency clawing at their backs. Where? Jamie asked breathlessly, looking back at the approaching threat. Through the woods, follow me, David said, determination igniting in his voice. We'll head for the old barn. It's far enough to hide until morning. As they sprinted side by side, Amy's heart soared alongside her aching fears. How could you think leaving me would keep me safe? She half whispered, half shouted, desperation leaking into her plea. I thought. David hesitated. I thought you'd be better off. I was wrong. I should have trusted you. I'm so sorry. Actions speak louder than words, she countered, drawing strength from the fight, reminding herself to stay present in the chaos. Each heartbeat rang louder as they navigated the dense undergrowth. Trust was fragile but forming again, deeper and more urgent than ever. With danger hot on their heels, each moment tightened the bond between them, and together they rushed through the darkness. As the barn came into view, a shudder of hope surged through her. Feeling David's presence beside her, Amy realized that survival was only the beginning. What have they unleashed in their quest for truth? Would the darkness they faced lead to healing or further strife? But that was a question for later. Right now, they had to survive. And together, she believed they could face anything the twisting shadows of Maplewood threw at them. They would uncover the truth, reclaim their lives, and emerge stronger on the other side. And as they reached the old barn, Amy gripped David's hand tightly, ready to fight for their family, ready to delve into whatever awaited them in the night. The time for running was over. It was time to stand and face the truth. If you've enjoyed this story and want more heart-pounding adventures like this, you need to subscribe now to the channel. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because every like makes a difference. And comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters, so let it be heard. Together, we'll uncover more incredible tales. Let us do this.